All right, that was David Bowie, Modern Love, here on the RockStop, 88.3 WHCM. Chris Contra coming at you. And right now I am joined on the phone line by the very delightful actress, Melanie Kinnaman. How you doing, Melanie?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. So glad you called in because a lot of fans of my show are big horror movie fans, and Melanie Kinnaman was in, of course, one of the biggest horror franchises of all time, Friday the 13th, the fifth movie. So,
yes, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Right, A New Beginning. One of my favorite ones of the whole entire series. I mean, I know it catches, some flack because of, spoiler alert, but, it's not really Jason. But I think it has all of the elements of a great horror film.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it combined horror, comedy, all kinds of stuff.
I think there was a lot of comedy in Part 5.
Right. I think maybe more than any of the movies.
I think so, yeah. Especially with, Ethel and Junior. And
there were
many interesting characters, but they were funny, and they kind of broke up all the horror.
Right.
Bringing in something to laugh at.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many memorable characters in that movie. Yourself, of course, as well as, like you said, Ethel and Junior. And I mean, we can go over all the characters and things, but also just great quotable lines. I mean, I quote that movie all the time.
A lot of people do, and it's funny when I do occasionally I do a convention and people will come up and quote lines that I had actually forgotten from the film, and they also ask you to write them on the photo. You're to them. So I think that film has a lot of memorable quotes, but I'm sure they can say that about a lot of movies,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably, but just speaking from a horror fan, a fan of the series, big time, I always go back to that movie. It's just, like I said, it's probably my favorite of the whole series. So let me ask you, when you got the role in 5, had you seen the previous movies?
No, after I got the role, I went to see Part 4, because I hadn't seen any Friday the 13th. I really only knew them on a peripheral kind of thing. So once I was cast, I said, I better go see at least Part 4.
Yeah.
And it was interesting having never seen any of the franchise. Part 4 was really good, I think. Really good.
I think so too. So you knew of the movies, but you didn't. You never really decided to check them out until Part 4.
Right. And when I auditioned for it, I didn't know it was a Friday the 13th. I just knew it was a horror film.
Okay.
And then, of course, when I got cast, they told me it was from the franchise, that it was just the next installment, and I didn't know what that meant. So.
I mean, I thought it had a great new idea. I mean, it was called A New Beginning, and of course, the previous one, the final chapter, where they killed Jason. So they did try to bring a whole new element to it, sort of a copycat killer type of a situation. And I mean, I thought
it was interesting.
Yeah,
I thought it was an interesting idea. A lot of people don't think it worked. I thought it was very courageous to try something different and to step out of the box and give the fans something. Just something different,
right.
Go, and Part 6 was going to follow the same thing, but people just didn't like it. They wanted Jason. They wanted the original idea, and they didn't want you to waver from it. So, but I still think it was a good idea to try something.
Yeah, and you said Part 6. Yeah, you signed on. I read that you signed on for a 2-movie deal.
Yeah,
and
John Shepard and I were to do both.
Right, and he played Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, and then John decided that he didn't want to do the next installment, which is why the whole thing changed. Part 6 changed.
Right.
It was going to be a completely different movie with John and I in it.
Wow, that would have been interesting to see, because I liked...
It would have been nice to have the continuation.
Right.
Have a continuing story instead of now they have a Tommy that looks nothing like the other Tommy.
Yeah.
The whole story's different, and although everyone tells me Part 6 was great, so that's good for them.
Yeah. I mean, Part 6 was okay. I mean, but I definitely would have liked them to continue from 5. I think that would have been a better way to go. Just my opinion, but
yeah, it would have been creative. It would have been again courageous, but Hollywood isn't always like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
It's all about money, really. So.
Yeah, it is. So let me talk to you about some of your acting influences. Who did you look up to in acting?
I loved Vanessa Redgrave, Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Those were my two favorites, believe it or not. I mean, there are many. There's so many more.
Right. But
they stood out because they were just strong women and just great actresses. All the roles they played were different. So I just find them to be really strong women.
Yeah.
That appeals to me.
Right, absolutely.
And they're still working in their 70s, so there you go.
You got to admire that, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember, did Vanessa Redgrave and her sister, did they do the Baby Jane remake, I believe?
Yes.
I think they did.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm really not big on remakes. I think, how you're going to get better than the original.
I completely agree with you on that.
Just never liked remakes.
Yeah. I mean, it very seldom works. I mean, I can only think of maybe a couple examples. If people like it, whether it's a cult movie or a huge blockbuster, if people like it, why redo it?
I agree. I also mostly don't like sequels. I mean, there are the exceptions, but, you take Rocky and then you do all the other Rockies. It's never as good as the original.
Yeah.
Psycho, I don't know why they did other Psychos. It's just my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I heard you were going to be in Best of the Best with Eric Roberts, but...
I did that movie.
You did it, but they cut your scenes.
My scenes were cut, but I'm still in the credits. So I get a lot of questions about that because they saw the movie and they were looking for me, and then they saw the credits and my name is in the credits. So everyone wants to know what happened there. I think the film... What I got from the producers was the film was running too long and they wanted to keep in all the fight stuff because that's what the fans wanted, and they took out all the romantic stuff, the Eric Roberts theme, the romantic situation.
Hollywood at work again.
Yeah, so they took out all my scenes because I was a romantic interest in that. So I had nothing to do with the fight scenes or the karate or anything. So I got the boot. That's
too bad. I mean, did you... Yeah. How long before... Or, was it... right coming up on the release when they notified you of that?
They never notified me. They invited me to the screening, the casting crew screening, and I went, brought my agent. We were all excited, and sitting there, and the film is going, and I said to my agent, the next scene is mine.
Yeah.
It's my first time I come out, and it's not there. And so I wait for the next one. I said, that's okay, here it comes now. Gone. They never told me.
Wow.
Never told me.
That's unbelievable.
I sat there in the audience filled with people that I knew, and the producer and the director, who both came up to me and said, you did a great job in this film, and they never told me.
Do you think any of your scenes will be released on a DVD or a Blu-ray thing?
I don't think they have them. I don't know how it works, so I really couldn't tell you. But if it hasn't, it's been all these years now, so if it hasn't been released now, I don't even know if they did a special edition or that or anything.
Wow.
No, I don't think they even have it. I think it's just they cut it and threw it away.
That's really a shame.
That's showbiz.
Yeah,
it's
right.
happened quite a few times. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a big Eric Roberts fan. How was it working with him, even though, unfortunately, we don't get to see it?
Yeah, he was great to work with. He's he was one of my favorite actors, and he was obviously very professional and very easy to work with.
Cool. So going back to Friday the 13th for a moment, these movies, unfortunately, the critics, they never understand these films at all. Siskel and Ebert, they tear these movies apart.
Yeah. That's part of the fun, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I think a lot of fans expect that. So, it just comes with the territory. But
and I think Siskel and Ebert in those days had a lot of fun doing it because they couldn't do it to a lot of other things. So when they saw this coming, they got to be really funny.
Yeah,
they got to say hideous things that they don't usually get to do.
Right, it gave them a new way to review films. I guess.
I think they had fun. I think as much as they trashed it, I think they enjoyed every minute of one of these films coming out.
I bet they did.
They enjoyed doing the reviews.
Yep. So Friday the 13th had, I think, one of the most in-depth documentaries I've ever seen on a franchise is Crystal Lake Memories.
Yeah.
It was, I loved it. I thought it was, just like I said.
They did a great job.
Yeah, so in-depth.
Yeah, I think the producers did a great job on that.
I mean, you got the amount of movies, of course, so there's a lot of content to go over, but the fact that they were able to interview so many interesting people from the movies and you really learn a lot. So after watching like all those movies to watch that, it was terrific.
And Alice Cooper.
That's right. I play Alice.
They got Alice Cooper. I ran into him that day. They were shooting us the same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I was surprised he was there. But so they got a lot of people. They got everybody.
Are you an Alice Cooper fan?
Yes, I love Alice.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah. Great. And the guy is still rocking today.
Still great.
Yeah. Yep. The Crystal Lake memories. Just from did you watch the whole thing, or did you mostly just? I mean, I know they interviewed you, of course, in part for The New Beginning.
Yeah.
Did you check out the rest of the stuff, or?
I checked out some of it. There's just so much, you know.
Right.
A lot of the after part 5 or after 6, I really kind of lost. I didn't have any friends in them. You know what I mean? I looked at the ones where I knew personally some people in it. So I didn't really have any friends in the latter ones, so I didn't watch that.
Yeah.
And part 3, because Richard Brooker was a very close friend of mine, so
I
watched that. Yeah. So there were things that I watched just because I knew the actors in it.
I gotcha. Right. Richard Brooker, terrific. He was one of my favorite Jasons.
Yeah, he was great.
He handled that character so well.
Yeah,
and,
he was a great guy too.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun.
That's good. That's cool.
We traveled a lot.
Oh yeah.
We did conventions in Germany and England, and so we got to travel a lot. He was a very funny. He kept you entertained. Let me say that.
And that's great to have. That's great to have.
It's great to have in a foreign country and a strange airport. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And the movies are very big in those other countries.
The fans in Europe are more. What's the word? They're just way more into it than America, if you can believe that. Because American fans are so loyal.
Right.
You know? But for some reason in Europe, they really love it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Maybe because they don't have anything like that. Maybe it's because they're American films, you know.
Right.
But, yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, so you did that whole circuit there with Richard Brooker, and he was able to keep things light on the road. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool.
What people don't know is that he was very, very funny.
Yeah, right. A lot of people won't know these things, just watching the movies, but yeah, it's good to hear the stories of how these people really were. Yeah. So speaking of some people you've worked with on A New Beginning, one of my favorite scenes of that film is when you and Reggie are in the back of Demon's van.
Oh yeah.
And I just love that whole interaction with all you guys.
With Miguel.
Yeah, right. That guy's
he's crazy. He's another one that's just so much fun to work with. And we've done a couple other shows together, and he's just always fun. He's just great.
Does Shavar Ross go to any of those shows?
I haven't worked with Shavar at any of the shows. He and I see him a lot. He and I are friendly, and we have he set up a website with a lot of our memorabilia because we were getting a lot of requests for stuff. So he went into business and set up a website, and then he also got us connected with Amazon. Was interested in our pictures and memorabilia for Part 5. So Shavar set up a company with Amazon. So we're on Amazon.com. So it's the Melanie Kinnaman Amazon.com or Shavar Ross, and all of our stuff is there. So he's responsible for all of that. He's a great businessman.
Oh, that's really cool. So if you guys want to check out that Amazon, you can get some memorabilia from A New Beginning, right?
Yep, and also directly to Shavar, the website is reggiethereckless.com. And all of our stuff is on there, and he handles all that himself personally. So
very nice.
You won't get ripped off.
Yeah, right. That's always important.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the production a little bit. I've heard reports that you and Danny Steinman, the director of this film, kind of clashed. Is any of that true?
Yes. But But we worked around it. Everyone has a different relationship with the director. Usually it's pretty much uniform. This was different. If you ask every person on this shoot from Part 5, they all have a different feeling about their relationship with Danny Steinman.
Uh-huh.
And mine was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But we worked around, because he was professional, I'm professional, so we worked around it. But
yeah, I mean, he
was very hard on me, I'll put it that way.
Oh, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I still don't know. But, he kept telling me how great I was and how easy I was to work with, which is very funny, because I don't know if he was preoccupied with other problems going on the set that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Which is possible. So I just, I was able to work through it.
Right. Oh, yeah, you can't. I mean, when you watch the movie, I mean, you'd never know this stuff. It's just stuff you hear later on.
Right.
That was Danny Steinman's final movie that he directed, I think. I mean, I don't think he directed anything after that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was Savage Streets after that? I know he did that.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, it was all around that same time. I was surprised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the movie came out great, and I don't think a lot of fans had too bothered by any conflict.
And there were great people in the cast.
Oh yeah.
Marco St. John, who played the sheriff, and just everybody. Everybody was professional and just very easy to work with.
One scene I remember that it was near the end of the movie where you're coming back into the cabin, and the Jason character, throws, I think it was Reggie's grandfather, through the window.
Right.
And you were pretty close to that strike.
Yeah, it was set up that way, and we had to try to get it in one take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it was breaking glass and everything. So it was really tough, and everything had to go perfectly, which is very hard for things to go perfectly in every take. But this was one. There are certain ones that you really have to try to get it that one time and not have a retake. So that was done in one take.
Wow. Yeah, it looked great, and it was pretty close to you. So.
Yes, it was.
I guess the timing, everything has to be just right.
That's right. Yeah, everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it had to be right. There wasn't room for error.
No, not at all. I mean, you could imagine the disaster that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corey Feldman in this movie as well. I mean, just for a brief moment there in the beginning, because I think he was shooting Goonies or something.
Yes.
But of course, he was the star of Part 4.
Right.
Did you work with him at all on when he was?
I didn't work with him, but I saw him on the set.
Right. So
we had lunch. We talked. He was very shy.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Very young.
Oh yeah. He's up to a music career these days. Have you seen any of this?
Yes, I've seen it. I bump into him from time to time in L.A.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he really, that's his passion. That's what he wants to do. So I say, if it makes him happy, good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been at it he's been singing and stuff for quite a while. So
yeah.
So
it seems to make him happy. And, I say, let people do what they want to do. You don't have to like it, but,
Right.
You got to be supportive. People putting themselves out there, putting themselves on the line.
I completely agree.
Do. I think let people do what they want to do.
Yep.
As long as it's not hurting anybody,
Right. So, did you keep any? Did you get to keep any props from the production?
I kept my clothes, the boots and the stupid pink sweater and that kind of stuff. I kept. Just because nobody else wanted. I mean, who's going to use it? So.
Yeah.
Props? No, they take everything from you.
Oh, okay.
Oh no! The minute you're done touching it, and the scene is done, they run and grab it and log it and put it back in Paramount.
Wow.
Warehouse. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where all that stuff goes.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you have any favorite scenes that you did from that film, or?
Well, the scene that you brought up with him coming through the window.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite scene only because it was very long shot. They did it all in one shot, one take, where I'm running. It's a continual scene. There's no cut.
What? Yeah.
And I run into the house, through the hallway there, and then he comes through the window. that all was done in one take, seamless, no cuts. And so I was really happy with that.
Yeah, and it looked really genuine when it was all going
really
on.
Happy. Yeah. Because it was live. It was real. I mean, it's...
Yeah. I mean, it was terrific.
Yeah. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, that was definitely...
And the chainsaw scene was another favorite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's so many great scenes in this film. And you with that... That was a real chainsaw, huh? When you were...
Real chainsaw. Everything was real. They had to teach me how to use it and how to hold it and how to handle it, and so I didn't get hurt or hurt anybody.
Yeah, the Tom Morga, who was playing Jason, I believe, in that film, he was a stunt man. I mean, most of the guys that play Jason are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's very demanding stuff, I would imagine, having to...
Yes. All he said to me in rehearsal was, because we had to rehearse the chainsaw scene, and all he kept saying was, "Don't hurt me," because there's ones where I have to throw it out.
Yeah.
So, he said, "Be really careful because this could cause some damage." So we rehearsed everything, blocked it out, and then we shot it. And that was shot on Halloween night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late.
It was...
middle of the night on Halloween.
Wow. Got the whole horror movie vibe going on there, big time.
I don't think that was planned, but it was. It was Halloween night.
And, speaking of Halloween, these movies air all the time around that time of year, Friday the 13th marathons.
Yes. And they also show during any time Friday the 13th falls, I think sometimes 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
That the 13th falls on a Friday, so they show it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These movies get a lot of play, and I'm glad they do. I mean, I've seen them tons of times, all these movies, but I always find myself turning them back on. I'm
amazed. I'm amazed that people are still watching them, and I'm grateful. I'm happy that it's held up all these years.
Yeah.
And that people are still interested in the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's got great replayability, I think, more than any other franchise. And your movie specifically, A New Beginning, just terrific.
Well, I'm so grateful that you feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm grateful that your fans out there who are listening are loyal to Friday the 13th, Part 5. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Very grateful for the fans.
Yeah, they are rabid, some of them, but yeah. It's definitely very cool.
And if some of them want to follow me on Twitter, it's Melanie Kinnaman at Final Girl 5. Final
Girl 5. Very fitting, as you were the final girl in that each movie had a final girl.
Yep.
And of course you were
the fifth one.
The fifth movie. And that's quite a the final girl is usually always the most wholesome, the smartest of the group.
Oh, it's funny.
And that's just the way it goes. I mean, Part 5 had a lot of sex going on, a lot of that kind of stuff. Where, but you always need that stable person in there to hold all these crazy kids together.
Well, I guess that was my job. I did my best. I'm not sure I succeeded with many of them.
Well, you tried.
I tried.
And that was another thing I liked so much about Part 5 is that they did take it away from just, kids on vacation or, going out to Camp Crystal Lake for something like that. They
gave it a story.
Yeah. Right. They gave it a story about a mental institution type of thing, halfway house. And it brought a totally unique vibe to the series. I loved it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I thought it made it interesting myself, but again, I'm a little bit partial.
Right. So I want to touch on this real quick as we'll wind down here pretty soon.
Okay.
You were a dancer for a while, right?
Yeah. I started out as a dancer. Yeah.
That's really cool. And you did some commercial work?
Oh, yeah. I danced in New York for many years, and I did a lot of commercials in New York. I mean, not New York. I did a lot of commercials. Some were shot in New York, some were shot in L.A. I would say 50% of the commercials I did involved dancing, which is very funny. So, it was a lot of fun.
Dancing in commercials seems to be on a bit of a downturn. I'm not seeing it as much.
No, I was lucky in the days that I did it, late 70s, early 80s. It was very big. A lot of musical commercials, a lot of dancing. And I was lucky enough to get a lot of them. I did the Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola. I was lucky.
Yeah. Were you ever approached about doing maybe a music video? because at that time, early '80s, a lot of bands were, the music videos was sort of a newer thing.
Yeah, it was. But by the time I got to L.A. In the '80s, I was doing General Hospital, and then I was just so busy. No, I never auditioned for one. I never got approached to do one. No. No. And then I got a couple of films, and then I got Friday. So, no.
Yeah, well, that's,
timing just wasn't there, yeah.
If only Alice Cooper was doing a video.
I know. Wouldn't that have been great?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Pseudo Echo was in Part 5, that terrific band.
I love that song.
Yeah, that's a great song, and they
love
got
it.
Violet dancing around a little bit.
Yeah.
So you had some dancing.
That's a great scene.
Oh, I mean, you just could go over the whole movie. I mean, just so many memorable.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
Yeah, she handled that like a pro. Do you see her anymore? Or you talk to her?
Yes, I saw her. Where were we together? We were in Chicago doing.
Right.
We did a convention, flashback weekend in Chicago last August. So I got to see her after all these years, and we spent time together, and it was fun. And I think we're going to be doing another thing together later this year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let me ask you this, because I saw this on your IMDb, and I'll tell you, getting a hold of old Saturday Night Live episodes is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So you are credited in an episode of SNL where you played Cheryl Ladd.
Yes, I was in the. You probably don't remember, but they used to have the show Battle of the Network Stars.
Oh yeah, no, I know that show.
Yeah, and so they did a spoof on Battle of the Network Stars, and I was Cheryl Ladd, and I forget who Belushi played. Gilda Radner was there. I mean, this is in their early years.
Oh yeah,
it was just so much fun. What a great experience that was.
I mean, those are legends. I mean, Belushi, Radner.
There was legends. It was hilarious. We had so much fun. It was a lot of rehearsals and then all day. And the musical guests that night were the Rolling Stones.
I mean, you talk about legends through and through.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I only did one Saturday Night Live, but I think I did a great one.
I wish I could see it, yeah.
Yeah, nowadays you can't get this stuff. If all this stuff was shot now, with YouTube and everything, everything's available. I can't even get some of the older commercials I did that were great. I'm trying to get copies of stuff, and I can't get it. Because in those days they didn't... They didn't put it all out there. You have to have it on the original reel.
I know, and it seemed like the content back then was just way better than a lot of stuff now. So
yes, but they didn't save it. They saved it in their archives, but it wasn't out there in the world.
Yeah, right.
Where you could just pick it and get it. Very hard to find things.
It really is. Yeah, that's too bad. But you got the memories anyway.
Yes, yeah, it was great.
That's terrific. Well, all right. I guess we'll wrap it up.
Okay, it was great talking with you, and hopefully we'll meet one day.
Yeah, I'm here in Chicago, so
okay.
I'm sorry I missed you guys at Flashback Weekend last year.
Well, we may be back. Chicago's a great town. I love to go and visit.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely be on the lookout for you guys. And
okay.
All right, so thanks for doing this, and take care.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.